So what's happened over the past 200 years is I have another presentation I give on the moral case for free market capitalism, and I have a graph by a guy named it's an English economist who traced GDP per capita or economic growth per person back to the year zero for the world, and it's a line like this. I mean, the bottom's here, and you can barely see the difference between where GDP per capita was until about 1820, when it shot up. This is with the rise of free market capitalism. And we went from a world in which 80 to 90% of the people in the world lived in extreme poverty. That's as defined by the United Nations. They lived in, I think it's like less than $3 a day. I mean, the 80 to 90% of the world lived in extreme poverty. Now it's under 10%. It's almost down to 8%. So we've seen tremendous changes in the way people live their lives. Everybody in this room has been affected by that. Your parents were affected, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. All of us have been lifted by a system where people improve their lives by improving other people's lives and focus on running profitable businesses that create jobs and opportunity. So if BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard were not out there advocating political policy, but we're continuing to advocate in support of our free market capitalist economy and our democratic form of government, then we as people would be making these decisions. And that system works tremendously, almost incalculably better than anything that's ever been devised or tried before. So I think it does make a big difference that they're in there trying to take us back to something that look, the Soviet Union, whether it's Cuba or the Soviet Union, or you guys familiar with what's going on in Venezuela today, the starvation, the empty grocery stores, the 300%, 500%, 800% inflation. When people in Venezuela are standing in a food line, they're not thinking about opening a grocery store. They're not thinking about how to feed the person in front of them or behind them. They're thinking about how they can get the most bread for themselves when they get to the end of the line. That system causes you to focus on yourself. If you're not going to be able to improve your life by your own efforts, who do you focus on? Well, you focus on getting as much as you can from what's available. That's wrong. That's bad. That's not what we want. And that's where these kinds of philosophies take us.